Shocking as it sounds, France just crossed a line in the sky, sending Rafale fighter jets over Poland in a bold display. Not to provoke war, but to show Europe that boundaries won't be violated. Two French Rafale jets flew through Polish airspace on Saturday, part of NATO's newly expanded operation called Eastern Scent, i.e. Sentry, intended to signal resolve. This is more than training, it's reassurance, a shot across the bow aimed at escalating regional tension. Amid fears of Russian aggression near Belarus, Ukraine, and Poland, NATO is reinforcing its eastern flank. My own concern, when deterrence becomes normalization, European stability may change forever. NATO revealed its bolstering defenses along its eastern border, with Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine as the uneasy triangle. Member nations, notably France, Denmark, Germany, and the UK, are pledging new equipment: fighters, ground systems, even ships. Think F-16s, Rafales, frigates, mobile air defenses. These tools aren't just for show. They're meant to restore balance in airspace roughly the size of a small country. NATO's commander made clear, this isn't temporary posturing. I wonder, can these deployments truly dissuade state actors willing to test limits? Eastern Europe now watches rockets more than rhetoric. The spark. Several Russian drones crossed into Poland. Promptly, NATO scrambled jets to intercept. Poland's defense minister praised the alliance's swift readiness. Active deterrence, he called it. These were no casual flyovers. Drone incursions are low cost, high alarm. When one misstep can spiral, readiness matters. Poland responded forcefully, shooting down drones, making clear that its airspace is silent. Meanwhile, ground and air defense systems were prepped. A real-life comparison. Imagine a neighbor's drone entering your yard at dawn. Not accidental. This provocation amplifies signals. It's a test of international rules. Russia claims it didn't target Poland. Belarus says the drones veered off course because of jamming. Others see a different script. Many European leaders, including Poland's prime minister, insist the incursions were deliberate. When dealing with state actors, strategic ambiguity is common. They may hope confusion blocks response, but NATO seems immune. Poland rejected statements that it was a mistake. Prime ministers and ministers across EU have echoed. Violations of airspace are unacceptable. My take, whether intentional or accidental, the cost of inaction now could be far greater. History shows that norms erode when small provocations aren't met. NATO's new force posture could define deterrence for the next decade. Among the maneuvers, the Russian Navy launched a Zircon hypersonic missile against a simulated target in the Barents Sea. Warplanes such as Su-34 bombers, backed by Su-57 fighters, practice carpet bombing and air cover. These are not just flashes, they're rehearsals. Let me paint a real-life picture. Imagine a military theater across a vast frontier. Bombers ripping through adversary air defenses while hypersonic missiles stress interception systems. The scale is chilling. The drills spread across Belarus, Russia, Baltic Sea, and Barents Sea. Zapad 2025 is sending signals: strategic reach, rapid firepower, readiness. These exercises parallel concerns NATO has about capitals being on edge. Poland, the Baltic states watch these drills the way a standing guard watches every rumble. And when drill becomes deterrent, ambiguity becomes risk. The lesson: military might without transparency provokes, but transparency without capability is hollow. Russia's choreography here seems intended to cause both resolve and anxiety. These exercises will last until Tuesday, several days of sustained military activity. Forces will operate in Baltic and Barents Seas, ground units here, air wings there. It's full spectrum. Duration matters. Extended drills allow tests of logistics, command, reaction time. If you were to run a marathon against someone who's already warmed up for a week, you know outcome tilts in their favor. NATO intelligence is surely observing every move: deployments, supply lines, command speeds. My insight: exercises like this are dual use. They train warfighting and broadcast messaging. Every fighter jet taking off, every missile test launch, sends both tactical and psychological signals. Zapad 2025 isn't just about flexing hardware. It's about demonstrating Moscow's deep integration with Belarus and the capacity to project force across a broad front. Such shows are aimed not only at external adversaries, but domestic audiences too. A message that the regime can still muster strength amid war, sanctions, and internal strain. For NATO and neighboring states, this is a puzzle. How much of this is posturing? How much is preparation for escalation? Historical examples help. The Soviet drills in the mid-Cold War often preceded crises or acted as bargaining chips. Belarus plays a strategic role: buffer, staging ground, transit route. When shared territory allows another power's drills to extend to your borders, you are threatened. On the Ukrainian front, warfighters report that Russia is concentrating elite units, special forces, trying to disrupt Ukrainian encirclements. But even elite units, when facing coordinated assault brigades backed by good intelligence and supply lines, have had difficulty altering outcomes. The pressure is mounting. Both sides learning fast how combined arms, logistics, morale decide more than just numbers. Among gains, several towns near Doborilia have been retaken. Russian forces had massed over 110,000 troops in the Pokursk-Detlast front, concentrated, powerful, but stretched. Ukrainian defenders used maneuver, surprise, and intelligence advantage. They undermined Russian plans to hold firm. By retaking villages, cutting supply and observation routes, Ukraine didn't just push back. They rewrote the map in those sectors. Real-life example: defending a supply depot. When the road in is cut, the depot loses value. That's what Ukraine achieved repeatedly. Supply roads cut, reinforcements stalled, morale broken. The real lesson here: deterrence is only as strong as its credibility, and offense as costly as its mistakes. When states test boundaries, by drones, drills, or force, they force responses. NATO's Eastern Century, Zapad 2025, Ukrainian counteroffensives, all strands of the same fabric. One miscalculation can spark escalation. What matters most? Alliances that act, forces that are ready, but also leaders who know when to hold fire. For citizens, the takeaway is that peace depends not just on treaties, but on constant vigilance. Collective defense isn't passive. It's proactive, expensive, and demands moral clarity. That clarity may determine whether Europe stays secure or slides into a more dangerous status quo.